So, like I said, welcome to every one of you once again. Um, this this is the second edition we'll actually be holding in May, and it's because we thought it's very essential to address the issue of indiscipline in our schools and in our classrooms. A lot of things are happening in the sector. We've seen very heartbreaking occurrences of teachers in the name of disciplining a child, beating them to death, giving them lifetime injuries. It's saddening, and we know that it should not be that way. On the other side, too, we've also seen some lapses in the school authorities or teachers' ability to instill discipline in their school and classes. I don't mention names, but I know that the news are all out there. We all heard some very sad incidences that happened in the school. So this topic is a very timely one, and I believe that our speaker today is an experienced and very vast speaker, and I'm very certain that it's going to do justice to it. But before he comes in, I want some of us to share our thoughts about instilling discipline in schools. What have been your challenges as a teacher, as an head of department, or even as a school owner or school leader? What has been your challenges? Is it with the school authority? Is it with the parents? Is it with the policy around discipline? We would love you to please share your thoughts. So if you have anything to share, you know how we do it. Just raise your hand and I will ask you to unmute yourself. And then you share your thoughts with us. This topic is a very sensitive one, and it's something that we all need to get right. As a child, when I was in school, I came from a very, very humble background. I had to help my mom carry stuff to school, like carry stuff, stove and pot and rice to the shop before I go to school every day. So there was this very day that I got to school very late, and this teacher, honestly, I can't even remember his name again. He really beats the hell out of me. Like, he beat the hell out of me. My hand was swollen. And as a child, I hated that teacher. Even while I could still remember that, because I was like, I really go to school late. How will I put it? It was not as though it's a pattern for me to go to school late. I always go, despite my challenges and all that, I still went to school very early. But that very day, I was wondering why he had to beat the hell out of me. So as a child, I hated him. And for next thing, I was not the only one that was late. So I still could not understand why I had to be the victim that day. Maybe because I was a prefect, who knows? But I know, and my mom did not really fight, but she didn't like that teacher. She stopped greeting that teacher because she was like, no, mommy, Ben, why would you beat my child like that? What did he do to deserve that kind of treatment? He didn't steal, he didn't fight, he didn't, he was just late one day. So, that was it. But I know that teachers, you have your experiences, and I believe that you probably share with me. So let me ask our first person, Mr. Benga, to share his own experience. Please, you have 1 minute to share your experience. You can unmute.
Good afternoon, Mr. John.
Good afternoon, sir.
Yeah, can you hear me very well?
Very loud and clear.
Oh, okay, sir. Thank you very much for this great opportunity given to us. Right from the beginning of when we start CRC project, being one of the blessed teachers since then. But my experience on the issue of the indiscipline in schools, today, maybe because we are in new generation, just like the example you cited, that was in the olden days. If someone tried to do such in this our school today, such teacher will be in trouble, serious trouble. But I also discovered that by the time we are removing this the issue of discipline from our school, it's just like we are removing the rod and we are spoiling.
Oh, I think we lost I think we lost Mr. Benga Motosho. I think I get what he's trying to say. He's trying to justify why we need to bring kings back into our classes. Well, I know that our speaker will have a slightly different opinion on that. But let's see why we're expecting Benga to come back in. Does any other person have something that he or she wants to share? What have been your challenges, or what has been your experiences with instilling discipline in classrooms? I'm hoping to get more hands up that we can share our idea. I can see a lot of names here: Abidemi, Mrs. Amibola Aziz, Mrs. Adenike Adebukola, Amos Atolagbe. Like, you are all here and you can all hear me. So please, my friend, Mrs. Esther Omoumi, please, I would love to feel your pulse. Let's share. Mr. Omoshoto, Mr. Binka is back, and so you can continue from where you stopped, please.
Okay, sir. Now we have a lot of out of indiscipline in our society. And then by the time we are removing that discipline, correction from our school, that moral education, it's like we are bringing down our educational system. As it's not of the normal standard when we were in school then. Now what we have, because they are paying, and the parents are paying, and then have limits to what you can correct, where you can correct a child to. And then this one is bringing down the academic sectors backward. Naturally, because of the opportunity we have, the height we have, we are supposed to have better advantage.
Oh, I think we lost Mr. Benga again. Yes. I was trying to actually ask him to be clear on what he's trying to say. Mrs. Esther Omomioku, I want to hear your voice. I want to hear your take. What's your take around discipline in classroom? What is your opinion of it? What have been your experience? Have there been a case where you disciplined a child and the school authority queried you, or the parents came to fight you? If yes, what did you do? What did you do to discipline that child? What measures did you apply in trying to discipline that child? Okay, we have somebody from Mighty Pillars, that's Timtokbe Ulabi. Please unmute yourself and be very brief. Continue. Yeah.
Good afternoon, all.
Good afternoon, sir.
Yeah, so let me just come from the Bible aspect. The Bible says we should train a child in the way he should go. That means they have their own way that they want to do. So it is our responsibility as schools, as teachers, parents, to put them in the right path. I've had a case of a parent that threatened to come to the school to beat up my teacher for beating the child, and we ended it in police station. Okay, mine is that.
Sorry, sir. Sorry, sir. If I may cut in, sir.
Yeah.
By beating the child, did the child sustain any injury? Was there any?
He had mark on him. But
So
what this particular,
right?
See, it's not right. But all this indiscipline start from home. The teacher had this child, the student, to stand up. The student refused and threatened the teacher.
Are you serious?
Seriously. See, this indiscipline start from home. It start from home. And the child got to tell the parent what the parents saw the mark on the child. Instead of them to come to school and ask, what has my child done? You'll be able to explain to her, but she threatened him. And I said, okay, before I go to the police station, I'll go there to report. So what I think is this teacher was sparing the road. He's bringing a lot of harm to the school. Go to government school. You see the way students beat up teachers. You see the way students threaten teachers. My wife works in a government school. Come and see students beating teachers, threatening teachers. All because they know they can't beat them. Because if they try it, something will happen to their job. The thing is that I'm not saying we should be barbaric in this specific use of cane, but it should be allowed to some extent. Not even this generation that we are. Not even school from low income like my own and in Nikorodu. That a father smoke, the mother said paraga. And you have such child in your school. You need to bring in beating. You need to bring it to corporal beating. You have to instill discipline into them. That's my own, but it should be minimal. That's my own take on it.
Thank you so much. I appreciate your take. I know that our speaker will come in and address and I kind of share your own sentiment with you. Personally, too, I taught for about 6 years, although not stretch, and I didn't beat my students. I to a large extent I tried to make them my friend, advise them, counsel them, try to make them feel free with me. But to be honest, there were times that I was compelled against my principle to use cane on those pupils. I taught GSS 1 to SS3. I was compelled to. And I realized, so at some point they started, and I thought it was also a low-income private school. And at some point they stopped writing my notes. They started coming to my class late. Some of them would even be using their phones while I was in class because they knew Mr. John would not beat them. And it was a Muslim school and I was a Christian. So I was very careful. So I don't be as if I'm trying to, be religiously biased or so. So at some point I realized that I had to use that cane on them. But in the long run, later, I found out that why the cane would create that kind of fear to make you earn respect. I thought there could be other things I could do to them, more like ask them to kneel down, seize their phones for some time, like probably giving them some stressful assignments, threatening to report them to the school authority and the rest. Why that worked a bit? That they knew that Mr. John does not beat, but if you push him to the wall and he had to beat you, he will give you your size. So thank you for your opinion. But I know that our experts, I am not an expert in this field. Mr. Aki Benjamin is going to do justice to that once he comes online. We are still expecting him to come online. But I saw one hand earlier, but I think the person's hand is down already. Thank you for your thoughts, Mr. Timitokwe Obulabi. So I'm hoping to see more hands up so I can share your opinions. Do we have other persons that want to share? I will ask you to unmute and then you let us know what's your take around discipline in school. It's just funny that a parent will threaten to take a teacher to the police station simply because he or she is trying to instill discipline in that child. It's funny, but I know that that's why we are here to learn from the experts, to know what we do. Okay, Mr. Olateju Johnson, please unmute yourself and share your thoughts.
Thank you, sir.
Yes, sir.
Good evening, everyone. Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
The issue of this discipline, I have a challenge in my class now. I have a boy that there's no form of discipline that you can apply to this boy, except cane.
Except cane.
I'm telling you.
You sure? Wow.
I got to a stage for I promised myself that this time I will not touch a child. But I tell you, as I'm telling you, that boy is frustrated to the extent. And the funniest thing is that when you take him to the management, they will just tamper him, and he will come back to the class and come and tell me that they won't do anything to me. And now, when you are now correcting the others, it's like you are wicked. Because he got to a stage, the management told me that maybe you have abandoned him. But I know the parents are paying. Now, I will try to correct him. So when I put him beside I just abandon him, isolate him sometimes, not touching him. When he misbehave, write note, he will not write note. Take your own work and do and bring it back the following day. He will drop it the moment you leave the school. When you come back the following morning, you will see the work lie down on the table. So And I discovered that, most of these, some of them has a family problem, like when the father and the mother are not together. But it's affecting the other. And I look at it that, well, at least we're supposed to be applying some element of discipline, not beating them anyhow. Gone the eras of beating children anyhow. Even those of I went to public school from my primary school up to university level. But the way I was disciplined make my head to correct to an extent. Not that I love it then, but now I know that children, just like one of our participants that said the other, Bible said, spare the rod, spoil the child. And that thing is affecting our society now. It's affecting our society seriously, and something need to do and do fast on the issue of discipline. What is the instead of you planning, you want to impart knowledge to a child and it's not ready?
Thank you so much for sharing.
It's not ready.
Mr.
It's a waste of time.
I know there's a way around here, and that's why we have Mr. Aki Benjamin here with us. So some of you already know about us. We are me and the foundation. And first of all, I'm just trying to rush up. So how will I put it? Thank you for sharing your thoughts. More at the end of this session, we believe that we'll do justice to it and know how to curb indiscipline in our classroom. So we are an NGO, and what we do is that we are passionate about improving learning outcomes in primary education in Nigeria. We provide infrastructure, both physical and digital infrastructure. We empower schools and leaders and management. We train teachers, and then of course provide scholarship for different pupils. In the past 6 years since we were established, we've trained over 5,000 teachers. We've impacted over 500 schools. Over 550 managers have been empowered and mentored. We've organized more than 155 training workshops, both physical and online. We've organized 2 leadership bootcamps for school managers. We currently have 4 children on full 6-year scholarship, and just 2 weeks ago, some set of 10 children again went for an exam, and we are wishing them the very best. We've impacted so many students through our works. We've innovated schools, we've given schools digital gadgets and the rest of those things. So, and this has been courtesy of our previous partners, Coca-Cola, Google, Tasty Fried Chicken, Pepsi, First Bank, and the rest, as you can see on my screen. So let me just quickly tell you about our speaker. It's a very long profile, but I'll try to be very fast about it. Mr. Aki Benjamin, as we all know, is a passionate teacher, inspirational speaker, a youth mentor, and educational consultant in Lagos. He helps schools and parents develop positive parenting and positive discipline strategies. He was a speaker at an alternative discipline strategies event in 2019 and also in 2021. This event is an educational show which has been adjudged to be the largest gathering of teachers in Africa. He was also a guest debater in the popular show on TVC, The Big Issue, that was broadcast nationwide. He debated about if corporal punishment should be continued in our schools or not. Of course, in his background, he holds a bachelor's degree from the University of Ibadan in education and political science, and has taught in various international schools of repute in Nigeria. He was also the programs manager and acting ED of Junior Achievement Nigeria, where he trained many youths in and out of secondary schools in Nigeria and Kenya. He is a Coca-Cola scholar and alumnus of African American Institute, New York, and the Enterprise Development Center of the Pan-African University, Lagos, where he was in the first set of the Social Sector Management Program jointly organized by the 2 institutions earlier mentioned. He prepared the Black Diamond Students Company of Dowen College, Lagos, Nigeria, to win the first ever HP Responsible Business Ideas Contest in Africa in 2019. So in 2009, he presented a talk on branding, brand funding, implication for non-profit organizations at the Youth Converge 2.0, which took place at the Hotel. He has taught at Middle School. He's the head of year in Atlantic All Poker Ekpe and head teacher Break All School Abuja. Aki Benjamin is fully involved in raising responsible youths, adults who are fully equipped to function profitably as global citizens wherever they find themselves. He is a convener and executive director of the advocacy group, the Supportive Discipline for Dignity Initiative. Wow. He's involved in the training of public primary school teachers and head teachers in Lagos. Of course, even the one that was organized by BAF, which is the continued in-service training. He was one of the facilitators involved in the training, and in training the newly recruited 1,000 graduate teachers in Lagos State in 2020 and 2021. His most recent training was the continuous professional development for the senior members of staff of Lagos State TESCOM in December last year. That facilitated trainings and workshops for many private schools in Abuja, Lagos, and Ogun State. Ladies and gentlemen, it is my honor to present to you as speaker for today, Mr. Aki Benjamin. You're most welcome, sir. You have the floor.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. And I hope that I can quickly share my, never mind this, my environment. I hope I'll quickly share my slides. I want to appreciate the organizer of this program, BAF, the Baba Bunyadra Foundation. And I believe that we have a lot to share together. I know that this is a very sensitive topic, a very, very sensitive one, but then it is also what I think is better this way. It is better we discuss about it. We cannot ignore this matter again. Just last week, or is it during the week, there was a situation where we had a boy that was beaten to death in one of the schools. Well, they said it was not because they said they didn't beat him to death. Maybe he had other issues. But you see, you don't know which child has other underlying issues. You don't know. I'm trying to share my screen with you. You know, so as much as possible. Okay, wait. I think I have an issue here. Don't worry, it will open. Hope that I now get. As much as possible, what we need to do is face the facts. The world is a changing world, and I know that there's a way by which we were raised, and we run the risk of just wanting to stay with the status quo. Can't really share this now. My goodness. Okay, so okay, good.
I could help you share your screen if you can forward it to my WhatsApp.
Okay,
so, coming up now. It's coming up.
I hope I've been able to share it now. Can you see it?
Yes, sir. I can see your screen now, sir.
So, effective strategies to curb indiscipline in schools.
Yes, sir. I can see your screen now.
Beautiful. Thank you. Now, let me start. I mean, I will go through this slide, but I will also just speak from my heart to you. Mr. Benjamin, this same man that is talking to you, I've been in the profession for about 30 years. And I committed early enough to being child-centered, a child-centered approach to learning. I was raised by a high-handed father who meant well for me, but used the methods that we all know because that is what they knew and the best they could deploy. It's just that today we don't have any choice. We don't have any excuse to use such methods because a lot is available for us in knowledge and information. I remember that I have a friend whose father was a father who was always absent. Okay, so whenever he came home, he would ask his children, which class are you? Which class are you? Which class are you? So my friend, who was I think in primary 3 at that time, he came home and he asked him, which class are you? He said primary 3. And so the old man, and then he went and came back about 3 months after and was asking them. And it was my friends that came, it was his turn, the first one. He said, which class are you? And the guy said, primary 3. He gave him a very terrible knock on his head. He said, don't you leave the same class? The man was not aware that the session had not ended, but that was his default. He had his own way of, disciplining the child, and it was to do that. But we need to move away from that. In the light of all the things that we are seeing, oh no, there's so many deaths, so many things happening. A teacher in Ikorodu last year, I think it was last year, a teacher beat a boy to death in Ikorodu and has escaped. Government is still after him till today. So, people say, are you now telling us to drop the cane and should we pamper our children? And should we? No, that's not what we're saying. None of my students will say that I spoilt them, but I cannot remember the last time I used the cane or corporal punishment, because there are better ways to doing these things. As a parent, let me also say I'm a parent of 2 daughters who are past, one is still in a teenage year, one will be 21 this year, and they are in the higher institutions learning. I have also raised my own younger brother who, when our father died, when my younger brother was just 12, I'm proud of him today. He's a father, a husband that I'm proud of. And I used this method to raise him in a place that is very, very, where notorious boys grew up in Ibadan. So it is not what, and I share the frustration of so many people who feel we don't know what else to do. Don't tell us to drop the cane. Don't tell us not to beat our children, But let us, and then the fundamental issue that we mixed up punishment with discipline. That is actually our fundamental error in Africa. We have substituted punishment for discipline, and it is not the same thing. Let me just, I may not be able to, because we're not exchanging any views here. Which of these resonates with you and your practice? A child comes home after our first day at school. Our mom asks, what did you learn at school today? The kid replies, not enough, I have to go back tomorrow. Teacher, you weren't here yesterday, you missed school. Student, no, I didn't miss it one bit. I don't know whether you got this. A child comes home after first day at school. Our mom asks, what did you learn at school today? The kid replies, not enough, and I have to go back tomorrow. That's one scenario. The other scenario, teacher says, you weren't here yesterday, you missed school. Students say, no, I didn't miss it one bit. I want response. If people can unmute, which one resonates with you? And what do you think this is saying? Can you respect? Let the person speak.
Can you please be more audible?
Good evening, sir.
Good evening.
All right.
Good evening, ma.
Okay. If a child comes home.
Good evening.
All right. Good evening, sir. Okay. If a child comes to school and tells the teacher that he or she did not miss school the previous day, it means the child is not connected to the school at all. And obviously, there is a gap that needs to be filled.
Okay.
And obviously, there is a gap that needs to be filled.
All right, thank you very much. So what about, okay, so well, that is it. And then we're looking at the fact that that is one scenario. The other scenario, the child says, oh, I actually didn't learn enough. I want to go back to learn more, and it's because school was fun. I hope my slide is still on. Hello?
Yes, sir.
Hello? Okay, is the slide on still with you?
Yes, sir, your slide is still on, sir.
Yes, sir, your slide is still on, sir. Yeah, I'd like to know, because what he's giving me here is funny. All right, so that child went to school and did not find school funny at all. All right. Now, the other child was very happy going to school. There was a particular day when a child was crying. The mother was beating that child as the child was going to school. And I asked the mother, I said, Madam, have you ever bothered what is chasing your child away from school? That, look, if you make it a culture of beating every day that the child is going to school, then there will be trouble. This child will associate going to school attendance with beating at all the time.
Go on with this. So we're still talking about curbing indiscipline in schools, all right? So give me the slides. Well, these slides will tell you about the fact that, a lot of us still consider spanking, slapping and flogging as an appropriate and harmless method of discipline. But that is not really right. Our parents used it. We talked about it. We know about the resetting slaps of the African mother, but that really will not help in this century. I'm telling you the truth. Because yes, it kept so many of us in check, but not only, it did more damage. I am telling you, as you are being tamed, so many giftings and talents and abilities were tamed down in you. Please give me the next slide. Next slide, please. Okay, so what research and a body of science has, however, linked corporal punishment with an array of developmental problems for children. A lot. I once taught a boy who, whenever you called him, he will be shaking, fidgety, just call his name. The mother had beaten him to pulp because he likes to draw. Okay, so if this boy was writing his note and he just drew Nigeria, the I there must be, made to a flag and designed well. The mother doesn't want him to draw. Okay, but then I had to encourage them because this boy had that talent, and the mother was killing that talent in him. We cannot afford to go on with that. While we were younger, if you stayed where the elders were, some of them will tell you, don't you know you should disappear where elders are? If you dare talk where they're talking and you don't, they'll tell you, how can you get into the discussions of elders? If you look them too much in the face, they say, your mother will be doing winking to you that you should put down your eyes. And so something in some years back, the child was not supposed to be in the midst of elders, to even contribute or talk or even be seen. All right, but that has to change. Let's roll this slide because of time. Let's roll it. BAF, please roll my slides because I'm not in control of it. Hello, BAF, please. Oh goodness. BAF, roll my slides, please. All right. So there are so many facts that are supported the fact that we do not have to continue to use the corporal punishment. The idea that we should continue with what our forefathers used is very wrong. It's very wrong. There was a time in the past when people had tribal marks, and tribal marks was acceptable because it was a means of identification. If they picked you as a slave and you were taken to Brazil, when you get there and you see someone with one mark on either sides of the cheek, then you know that, oh, this is your family. Or you saw somebody with the Ogbomoso type of marks. But today, now, we don't need such. Of course, but it was useful at that time and it was needed. So, but change has to happen to us, every one of us. And that is what must happen to the way we discipline. Let's roll it. So Sweden and some other countries were quick to adopt, the non-corporal way approach to raising children and to discipline. Because what we call discipline here is actually punishment. What we call discipline is punishment. Discipline is not punishment, and punishment is not discipline. Sweden was the first to ban corporal punishment in 1979. Please roll the artifacts. Just roll it. Please give me my slides, please. Roll those slides, please. Okay, so I hope we can roll this slides. Now, some of these countries, and we're not talking about the fact that we're bringing something from abroad. No, it is just the dignity of the African child that we must be careful not to damage. because so much damage has been done to it. We should not further damage it. I do not use the cane. I do not use corporal. It is not just because Sweden and other countries stopped it. It is because I found out that in practice, my children, my learners are better helped if I can just relate with them without making them too afraid of me. Too afraid of me. Roll my slides, please. Punishment, corporal punishment, such countries that use corporal punishment, they raise children who are also violent. Those countries who stop it, they realize that, look, they become safer countries to live in. People say, so we spoil children. Those children under the bridges in Lagos and down the streets, who I've worked with, vulnerable at-risk children. Some of them came out of their houses because of harsh treatment and punishments. Nobody has even started. All of the children that are smoking hemp outside there, you think they did not beat them? But you see, countries that have banned corporal punishment, they realize that they became safer countries to live in. And look at this. Research in Canada, the USA, and Israel conducted a survey of more than 400,000 young people between 11 and 25 years old in schools, and in 88 countries between 2003 and 2004, about how often these youth engage in physical fights with their peers. Those who were raised with corporal punishment engage more in physical fights. That is what the research found out, so that we can cut it short. Please, let's move on to the slides that talk about the first steps in discipline. Okay, let's roll the ones on hard facts. Let's roll first step. Thank you. These are the first steps in supportive discipline. Roll it. So children children and learners will find it easier to take correction from you if they are sure of your love and understanding. Okay, cultivating friendship. That's the first step. Whether you are a teacher, whether you are a parent, cultivate friendship with your child. Some people will say, oh, I cannot be friends with my child. I'm the parent. Nobody is saying you are not the parent. We are saying cultivate friendship with him or her. When you are a friend, it is easier for that child to take discipline from you. Roll it, please. Roll the slides, please. Okay, so take time to create a positive environment where they are free to express themselves and ask questions where they are sure to be listened to and answered. Okay, you must create an environment where they can be heard, where they can be listened to. If they realize that they cannot listen to you, you cannot listen to them, and they cannot be heard, you will be raising strangers in your school and at home. Please raise this, roll the slides, please. Okay, so allow them to make choices, and even if they make minor mistakes, let them learn from such. Okay, give them guided and guarded exposure. What I mean by guided and guarded exposure is you do not cocoon them from the realities of life. Let them make choices. They will not be injured by them. All right. Guide them while they are making those choices. Guard them from making mistakes. It is very, very important. You cannot say a lot of people are living the lives of their children for them today. A lot of people are not allowing children to make choices, and they're not developing executive skills because of that. Now, make family rules together, even at school, as teachers. Make classroom rules together with the children. Make classroom rules together. Very, very important. Make classrooms rules together. When you all make those rules together, it will be easy to abide by those rules. And when you are making these rules, I realize that people, it's not the loss of Moses, like say, don't do this, don't do that. In fact, there is a research that says when you use the word don't, that the children just don't process don't. They cannot process don't. And so I tell teachers in schools to make positive affirmations, to turn their rules, the classroom rules, to positive affirmations. Okay? I respect my classmates. I do my homework and assignments promptly. In all of those things, I cooperate with others in my class. Those are rules. They make it positive affirmations, and they can recite that in the morning. They can do so maybe before they go home or even during break. Now, the other thing is that, look, whatever you are telling children, what you model to them is more important than what you say. So we need to model what we want to see to the children. If this was a physical training, I would have demonstrated something to you that will show you that action speaks louder than voice. Okay, so your actions speak louder than what. Never miss an opportunity to praise children for the things they've done right. A lot of times we're always looking for what to use to hang children. Let us there. You've caught them. You're always looking for what they've done wrong. How about looking for what they've done right and praising them for it? Even as adults, when you are praised for things, even you want to do more. So if I see you doing something right, I say, John, you did well by turning off the tap, you did well by washing those dishes early and quickly. If you do these things also in other areas, I will praise you, and they look forward to it. Please roll the slides. Let's get to diagnosis of misbehavior. Okay, so now call attention to wrongdoing. The fact that now you need to call attention to wrongdoing or wrong acts. And since the family rules are made together, classrooms are made together, it is easier for them to be accountable and to comply because you made them together. The idea is this: how many families, how many fathers, how many mothers make rules together with their children at home? How many teachers make rules together with the students and pupils in class? Okay, but you need to do that so that you co-own the system that regulates your classroom and the system that regulates your family. Now, the next one will be the diagnosis of misbehavior. The truth of the matter is that we are quick to rush to beat children or to serve corporal punishment on them. But we never really bother about why they are behaving the way they do. Because behind every behavior is a reason. And everybody must go for that. We must find that as parents, as teachers. Why is this child behaving like this? The next slide, please. Because there are different reasons why people. So you can have a child who is just misbehaving because is of a power tussle with you. In your classroom, I've taught in schools where children will say, which school have you taught before? They want to know whether you've taught their type, and a child is trying to see how far you would allow him or her. The boundaries is pushing. There's a power tussle, that's one. Two is that it could be revenge. Maybe he wants to revenge on another child in classroom that have offended him or her. Or maybe he wants to even take revenge on you. Maybe you've done something wrong. Maybe last session or the term before, or yesterday. And some, it is just attention seeking. Some children, their misbehavior is just because they are seeking attention. And you must know why one is behaving the way it is. Some just want to be left alone. A child who has witnessed the mother being beaten at home in the morning will come to school just hibernating, just being by himself or herself, and you go there and you beat. There's a particular case that happened recently in one of the schools that I visit and I consult for. A child in, I think, the upper primary went and urinated, on a channel downstairs in the premise of the school, and it was reported to the school director, the owner, and that one applied some light spanks. So the child got into the classroom and started crying and would not do anything. And the teacher in the classroom did not know that had happened downstairs. So the teacher in the classroom now started beating the boy for not complying with instructions until that boy now had marks on him. Now that landed that teacher in trouble. Because you see, sometimes it's because you don't know how to discipline. It's because you don't find out the why of the behavior of your children that you will get into trouble with discipline. I don't have any problem applying discipline in any schools that I've taught because I will do it ethically. The issue is not that you should not discipline. The issue is how are you disciplined? How is your discipline? How are you applying it? Roll the slides for me so that we don't take too long. We've already, the session has been, hampered. But you see, this child is seeking power, the power tussle with you. Next slide, please. Okay, so that's your revenge guy who wants to revenge. Next one. Okay, next one. That's a repeated slide. Okay, so that's an attention seeker. There. And you have this type of children at home and in class where they want to be the only one speaking. The attention seeker wants to be the only one speaking in your class. He wants to get auntie's attention, uncle's attention, Mr. Benjamin's attention, Mr. Tunde's attention every time. Doesn't want another person to talk. I don't know whether you're there. If you're there, okay, you have this attention seeker, even in your homes there, attention seeker. But you see, we'll talk about what we need to do with them. Let's move it on. Let's roll it. But there's this girl also who just wants to be by himself, and I've explained why some children want to be by themselves. Maybe the child has not eaten. Maybe the child was beaten before coming to school. Maybe the child had witnessed some kind of, the domestic violence. And you come on and you add to it because you never bothered why. Roll the slides, please. All right, so many misbehavior exhibited by students are response to behaviors exhibited by the teacher sometimes. Do not tolerate, but do not tolerate undesirable behavior no matter what the excuse. Okay, so the fact that you're not tolerating unwanted behavior does not mean beat. It then means that you have to get to know why such happened and then be able to teach. You see, because discipline is not punishment. Discipline is teaching to correct. Let me say that again. Discipline is teaching to correct the child. It is not about punishment. I don't rush to punish any child. I don't rush to beat. I don't rush to apply corporal punishment. I would rather find out what happened. And sometimes when you find what happened, you know you are in the wrong now. And funny enough, African elders don't, the elders is always right in Africa. You don't even apologize, even when you find out that you are wrong. And that is a terrible thing. Let's roll the slides, please. Understanding why a person exhibits a behavior is no reason to tolerate it. But understanding the function of a behavior will, however, help in knowing how to deal with that behavior. We're not saying tolerate the misbehavior. No, but we are saying you will then know how to deal with it, how to make sure that the best comes out of it. I would cite practical examples. So my position is zero tolerance for indiscipline, using proven alternatives to beating and corporal punishment. The issue is I will not beat and I will not use corporal, but I would use my own methods. Not just my methods, but proven methods. So corporal punishment, is a form of punishment in which physical pain or discomfort is intentionally inflicted upon an individual for the purpose of trying to get that individual to be sorry. He or she displayed a particular behavior. You want that child to feel sorry, to be sorry for the behavior that child displayed. You see, the thing is that when you have, by the time you have finished making that child bitter, sorry, you will leave him or her bitter while you are feeling better. We found out that, in fact, there is an addiction that comes with beating children. You see, if you go to some schools, there is a recognized masquerade teacher. They just call his name. He's the one that will beat. He's the one that will beat. And when he comes, you see his eyes beaming with smile. And everybody's saying, Mr. Su has come up. Now, when you are beating that child, you are feeling good. There's a feel-good effect that comes for the person that is beating. Oh, I gave that boy 30 slaps. Oh, I gave him 6 strokes of the cane. But you have left the child bitter. And he's not better. The child is not better. In fact, I have videos that I would have shown. There's a video where a teacher was beating and the boy just laid down there. He was just there, taking it and dusting it, and dusting it. And it became a hero. At the end of the day, you wasted your energy because by the time the two of you left the place, the boy has become a hero and the others want to be like him. Please, let's roll these slides because of time. Let's just roll it. So beyond this now, 1 and 2 countries have ratified. The evidence shows that students who have undergone physical punishment are low on scores. Not all, there are some, because you say, but they beat me and I didn't get low on score. You were lucky. So many became low on scores because of it. And they report challenges with fear. Fear. The idea is not to make the child fearful or afraid. The idea is to build respect into the child. Your children or students are not supposed to just fear you. They are supposed to respect you. And the thing is this, they also deserve respect. They deserve, if you treat them with respect, they would also respect you. If you also command respect, they will give it to you. Respect is not what you go and use the cane or corporal punishment to harness. Okay? Let's go on, please. The problem is that children enter a world of emotional chaos when their role model and significant figures from whom they expect safety and security become the figure who also inflict physical harm on them. That's what Roger Thompson said. Okay, so my mother loved me so much, but she's the same person pulling my hair and turning it like she wants to remove it. She's the one, my daddy loves me, but the one using koboko on me. My teacher loves me so much, the one, how do I marry that? It's confusing, honestly. Next slide, please. Okay, now if we have to do this, we may not go through all of this, but I will just touch some. For example, we're looking at 1 year old. A 1 year old child does not need, and let me tell you something, I hope I rely with the time. Now, a 1 year old, I see a lot of people, sometimes when I'm in public transportation, I see parents, I see women especially, you bring a 1 year old child into a bus, or you bring that child into a place where only adults are, and that child it gets bored and starts misbehaving. Because you see, that child, even you as an adult, when you stay in that place for too long, you are uncomfortable. And you have not brought any toys along. You have not brought anything for that child. You have not considered the feeling of that child in that journey or in that situation. And the child starts giving you shows. You see, and I see a lot of parents beating and beating and beating. I'm like, you are doing the wrong thing to this child. Because the child will behave to his age. The child will. Now, they are just processing language and just learning by exploring, okay? And they want what they want now. You see, a child 1 year old, what that child wants, if it is breast milk, if that child wants it now, it is you that must now manage that that is his natural behavior. That is the milestone at which that child is. How do you manage it? Let's roll the slides, please. Okay? So how to manage a 1 year old? Prevention. You first of all make his environment safe for him. I know a toddler who went and ate soda. The mother was not too far, but the child had soda. For heaven's sake, the child died. Okay? The duty of care of parents is important for a 1 year old. Eternal vigilance. Keep your expectations reasonable. Don't sweat the small stuff with a 1 year old, for heaven's sake. And child-proof your home. That is, make the place, safe for a child. Put away breakables and off-limit items. And, manage meltdowns. A meltdown is when your child is just, throwing tantrums and all of that, comforting and distracting. You can always distract a 1 year old or a 2 year old. You just direct attention into something else. You can give them a toy. You can give them something so that they stop the meltdown. They stop the tantrums. It's not about beating. It's not about beating. I'm saying that. You don't raise a 1 year. By the time you start beating your 1 year old child, you are teaching that 1 year old child to beat other people. It will beat other people, will bite other people when he goes out or is with others. Okay? Be fair. So this, your 2 year old are full-fledged explorers, which some have labeled the terrible twos. You can say terrible twos and terrible threes. Constantly experimenting and testing reactions from others. Frequent tantrums at this stage, since he can't always get what he wants. A child that thinks I must always get what I want. Now you are saying you cannot get it. Tantrums, because now he even want to express himself. He doesn't have the language to express himself or herself. Next slide, please. And so state your expectations clearly. Research says we should look at the child, come to the high level with the child. Don't speak from the top. Come down to the level of the child, speak to that child, and state your expectations clearly, and minimize power struggles. Offer simple choices. Oh, so Shola, today, would you take your vegetables now, or you don't, or you will not follow me to so place? And the child say, oh, mommy, I want to follow you, I'll take this. You give choices. Once you divert them into choices, they feel like they're the one making that choice, and they then give incentives to compensate, to cooperate. Give incentives to cooperate with you. Give them incentives to cooperate. If a child has done something right, reward that child. It could be praise, it could be clappings. We use all of this for children. Understand that this child is always testing you. Help him to master his feelings. Explain that we don't hit others. Hitting hurts. You may demonstrate how eating hurts. I remember that teaching my children not to touch hot things. I would touch you and look like, oh, it's painful, it's painful. I don't have to allow them touch it for them to know that it is painful. I can demonstrate that to them. Don't give in to the tantrums of these children. Stay close by until it stops and to direct him towards positive behavior. The child is doing tantrums. You don't always have to, because you see, people think when a child cries, they should always run to stop him. Some people will even beat a child that is crying. Stop crying. Why do you want? He can cry now. He can cry. She can cry. As long as he knows that I will not respond to that, I will respond to you when you are okay. And I know that it's not a health issue. You don't have a health issue, you are crying because I don't want you to get a particular thing. Oh, then you can cry. I only reward you when you are calm and quiet. You can remove him from that particular situation, okay? And then give him other choices and all that. Let me tell you, I can take a child from a particular situation 10, 20 times, and I'm not still beating that child. Okay, so a 3-year-old will appreciate, started appreciating independence and being challenged with gaining increasing control of our emotions. Now beginning to understand cause and effect, such as being naughty attracts punishment and behaving well gets approval. So this child at 3 is now beginning to develop some sense of, right, wrong, and all of that. Let's roll the slides, please. Okay, so tantrums may be minimal and it will give way to practice routines. Okay, well, hello, please, you two are rushing. Yes, so the child is beginning to handle frustration better at 3. Explain the task simply, get him or her started on it, and acknowledge the effort. These are the ways to deal with preschoolers, not beating. Let's roll it, please. Maybe we should move on to higher ages. Because a 3, so that's yeah. Let's go on to like okay, a 5-year-old is learning a lot of role play, copying the significant adults around him or her. Mature enough to follow rules and do same chores, some chores, but may still push the limits to test you. And whining may begin to give way to slamming your door. Okay, well now they learn to slam doors, and but all of these things can be corrected. You can, and you don't have to ignore these things, because you see, between age 0, and 6 is when we need to win our children to ourselves, so that they can be, once they become malleable at this age 0 to 6, they most likely become good teenagers for us to manage. Okay, roll it, please. Can I give the soft copy of this seminar? That is BAF. BAF does not have the right authority to. They cannot give out this one. No? All right. So now, at 6 or 7, the child is showing more appropriate and control in school, cooperating in groups, and raising his hand. The child is now getting mature. Okay, let's move on to the young adults. BAF, move on to young adults, like say, like 8 to 10. Yeah, 8 to 10 year old. 8 to 10 year old. Your 8 to 10 year old now is learning about group behavior, trying to find where she fits in. Now old enough to follow rules. That's the age, primary 3, primary 4. Okay, but may swing from being cooperative to being difficult. Once in a while. She may act up. Pre-teenage tendencies will be setting in between age 8 to 10. I'm giving you this background, and then I will now talk about how we manage these things, because of time. So let's roll it. This is when they start talking back to parents, talking back to teachers. It's not because they are bad children, and I need to establish this. You don't have a bad child. Your good child that God gave to you has learned bad behavior, and you want to correct that. You don't ever throw the baby out with the bathwater, okay? But at that age now, she understands basic differences between right and wrong and expect guidance and reinforcement from you. Talk it out with that child. Have family meetings, one-on-one meetings. Do you do that? Are you intentional? As a class, let me tell you about what we do in the classroom. In the classroom, we talk about, timeouts. We talk about timeouts. Let us relate this to the classroom. And I tell people, there are 3 ways to use that. You can have a time in with the child. A time in with the child where you are talking to that child about the behavior that he or she just displayed, and you are advising that child on what to do. Now, you can have timeout for that child, where that child is taken out to be by himself or herself and secluded from the rest of class, not outside the classroom, but secluded for a while within the class to have to think through what he has done. But then you can also have time out for yourself. Time out for yourself as a mother or as a teacher. or as a parent, or as a father, if you know you are going to lose your patience and you're going to injure that child, take time out, please. Just take time out. You can call an assistant teacher or another teacher to help you, or even somebody, to stay in the class for you, and just go and breathe, count to 10, and come back to your class, so that you don't kill somebody else's child, so that you don't have to face the law. The law of in fact, as at this week now, Lagos State has banned corporal punishment in all its schools. Banned corporal punishment in all the schools. The commissioner made that rule yesterday to emphasize the need for this. Please roll it. Please roll the slides. Okay. So, but I will stay on this one. When it comes to young adults and teenagers, I use what I call reflective sessions a lot. Please stay on that slide. I use reflective sessions a lot. Reflective sessions, yes, reflective sessions. What I mean is this: that a child has misbehaved. For example, let me give you an example. There was a time when a particular teenager was reported to have torn at school, and it was reported to me. Now she got angry and she did it. But then when she came to when he got to me, I said, okay, sit down. And you can do this to an 8 to 10-year-old too. They can talk to you. They don't have to write. But for a teenager, I got her papers. Write on this. What happened? She wrote what happened. Okay. And she said, I'm through. I said, you are not through. Put your date and signature. She did. I said, now take another paper. Write what you identified that you did wrong in this case. And then she sat down by herself and she began to write what she thought she did wrong and what she thought she did wrong. And then when she was saying I'm through, I said, fine, fantastic. She read out to me, she read it to me. And I said, sign and put a date. She did. And I said, take another paper. What will you do in this situation another time? Now that you know what you've done, I have not said, I have not abused, I have not knocked her head, I have not abused her parents, I have not said, is this how your parents raised you? Look, the moment you do all of that, you have lost the battle. You have lost the battle. And so the child will write and then will read. Fine. But I would say now that you now begin to look, because now you identify what you should do another time and would have self-corrected herself or himself. But I would not say, okay, fine, I would have pardoned you now, but because others also saw what you did, there must be penalties. So in the case of that particular girl, she had to replace the nets. But not only that, I told her you would work with the cleaners in your quadrangle. And I told the cleaners not to embarrass her or not to be harsh on her. And I said she would do it from Monday to Friday. And she would do it during break time when others will see that whoever did what she did deserves deserves consequences. And she had to do, and I was monitoring it. If you're not going to follow through, you cannot do this. If you don't have the passion, you cannot do this. If it is just to beat and go away, that is easy. It's the easiest thing to beat a child. Whether that would achieve results is another issue. Because what that will do is whenever that child sees you, she gives you what you want. But when you're not there, that child is a stranger. That child does whatever he likes. Because your cane and your shouting is not there now. Now, even for your children at home, will you follow them? Will you go out with them? Will you go outside? That's why some people's children do things outside and they say it can never be my child. But then it's your child. But you are raising a stranger at home. You are raising a stranger at home because of the fear that you have instilled in that child. That child is not free to express himself or herself to you. And so by the time we were through, this child had to go through that consequences. And she was sweeping with the cleaners. And I was there every break time to supervise. And when we were through, when it was Thursday, I said, it's okay. You have actually followed, I said, I'll pardon you for the last day. But you see, as I was doing that, I was carrying school along. I gave photocopies of that to the school counselor. The school counselor was on the same page with me. Some of us discipline, we say we are disciplined. You just do things and you run away. You want to be the Lord to yourself. And you think, why should I not be able to knock the head of this girl? Why should I not be able to make her kneel down? Why should I? Look, if you don't carry the school along, you will be in trouble. And that is the truth. You have to be ethical. So because what happened afterwards was that the mother of this particular child has 4 children in that school. And there's a school where they were paying in millions. And the elder sister now called home and said, my sister is now a cleaner in our school. And the mother flew into Lagos. and said, I want to see which teacher has done that to my child. By the time the mother got to the counselor's office and she read, and I had to put in that, I recommended anger management therapy and all of that during the holiday for that child. The woman came to apologize and to really, really thank me. That is how you discipline. You don't discipline by saying, you want to knock the head, you want to pull the hair. You know, no. When you start, the moment you engage in some arguments that are not necessary with your students, you have lost the battle. You see, you just made yourself a Nollywood actor or actress, and they'll be looking for your mumu button to press the next time you come to class. And they'll be looking for you to put up the show again for them. And they will be in, but that's what they will do. But you see, the moment, once you know you're about to lose it, just get off that situation. Or if you have to report that, if you have to turn that child over to a higher authority while you are busy, do so. Don't let any child deprive you the right of teaching and deprive others the right of learning. Let me also say this, that sometimes when a child misbehaves in my own class, I don't get into shoutings and into fisticuffs with that child. I use proximity management, management for that child. Okay, you are talking away while I'm teaching. I come close to you and I teach for the next 5 minutes right beside you, and I am praising those who are paying attention and I'm commending those who are doing the right things. Except I have lost my weight as a teacher. Except I don't have any weight. That's why you will continue to be talking away while I'm standing right beside you to teach. I will do that. And when I'm now leaving, I will leave a note or tell you, see me during break. That is where you will now come in to put in the extra time. Because when you now come into the large staff room and not just a cubicle, don't bring any child to your cubicle room. Let it be a room where others are. And when you do that, I now ask for assignments. Hey, Mr. Shola, do you have English work for this child? Do you have maths? By the time you have done that for the break, you will eat, but you will do your work. Next time when I come to your class, you are behaving. It's as simple as that. And your parents cannot come and fight me, because I will tell them I only helped them to train you and for you to study more. You see, we need to learn the ethics of how to apply discipline. If we don't do it, we're deceiving ourselves. Please roll this slide so that as I begin to bring this to a close around 6 or so, I hope I've not taken too much of your time. If you have questions, let me see whether there are even questions. Please, can you give us this soft copy? Some children are finding it not so difficult to deal with. We're sorry. And you're like, we'll give you a point to share shortly. Okay. Can you wait? Can they wait? You've been raising your hand. Okay. There'll be time to listen to you. Sorry about that. Examples of consequences. You demand a written explanation for the wrongdoing or a spoken explanation if the child is much younger. Listen for remorsefulness expressed in writing or in speech. Okay. Roll the slide, please. Roll the slide for me, please. Now, counsel and guide the child to commit to change. Okay? Now, but then you can withdraw privilege. Let me give you an example. A particular child who was very troublesome, and we tried to work with that child and will not yield. So I sent for our parents. And when our parents came to school, I was heading that school in Abuja. When our parents came to school, and the moment I sent for her, the moment she entered my office, the girl crawled behind me and entered and got under my table. Got under my table and was shaking. And I'm like, why? The mother said that she knows that they've invited me because of her. She's dead. I said, but you see, this child that is shaking under my table is not the child here in school. I said, but you see, because you beat and beat and beat at home, you don't know this child at all. And so we decided, what are we going to do? She likes to swim, and they've paid for swimming. In your own school and in your homes, you know what privileges you can withdraw from children, that they will feel it. And so I said, I'm stopping her from swimming. She will only sit down to applaud others and be a cheerleader and be cheerleading. I said, the mother said, fantastic, that's great. I said, it's not enough. You're not going to demonize us. What will you do at home? So sometimes we need to get home to agree with us on the method of discipline. So the mother said, okay, the birthday that she's expecting, nobody's going to celebrate that birthday for her. And when they want to travel abroad, she will stay with her grandma until Mr. Benjamin sends a report that is better. Look, let me tell you something. We got that child to be better within weeks. That child changed. I am telling you the truth. In my own home here, one of my boys likes to sit at the edge of the chair, you know, the armrest of the chair. And I said, stop it. So I said, well, if you will not stop it, you'll be sitting on the floor. That's where you'll be served your food. That's where I did that for like the guy changed. He changed. He would even tell his younger brother, be careful, don't sit on the edge. because you'll be sitting on the floor. I am telling you, because, and I don't issue threats that I don't carry out. But at the same time, they must not be threats like I will kill you. No, those are not the issues. So withdraw privileges. If I find something that a child is addicted to, something good, not all the other issue of porno and all of that, but maybe a gadget, then I found something to modify the child's behavior. Because what I will do is this: you only have access to this particular gadget for 30 minutes or 1 hour when you have put in 2 hours of study, 2 hours of this and all of that. When you have done this chore and done this chore, then you have this. So it becomes a reward system for the child. And that is it. And it works. It really works. So I've talked about the timeout and supervised detention or exclusion. All right. So this is it. I guess I can begin to round up gradually here. And I said raising responsible global citizens through quality education, outstanding learning and positive supportive discipline. Our advocacy is zero tolerance for indiscipline, using outstanding classroom experiences and supportive discipline approaches, as opposed to spanking, beatings, and all other forms of child abuse. Let me tell you, personally, those people that I've mentored, they always say, wow, we didn't know it can be this better. No, we didn't know, and I am committed to negotiating more dignifying approaches to raising the African child. The African child has been beaten, battered, and treated like animal. And it's the same God that created him and others. When he says we are created in the image and the likeness of God, the African child was also created in the image and likeness of God. This is where I will stop. Sorry about how the gadgets did us initially and network. Please, if you have questions, let us give it to me and let us discuss so that by 6 or so we can be off. I hope I'm in line. Hello, because there's so much more to share.
It's such an excellent presentation, sir. I wish we have more time on our hands. I honestly wish we have more time on our hands. So just before, I know you have other events to catch on to. So someone has a question here in the chat box, and I think I want to respond to it. It's the same Ayola. Say, but some child punish them. They report you to the authority, and their parents will come to the school premises and fight who does that. What can you say about that, sir?
Now, you see, I have no, in all of, I hope I did not rush too much. In all of my delivery, I made you realize that you are careful, you have to be ethical. The child is looking for how to discredit you. The child and parents are ready to side with their children. I'm telling you the truth. You have to learn to be ethical. Carry the school along. Stay within the ethics of the school. What I do for schools is do this training, but beyond this, I create behavior management charter for schools, behavior management policy for schools, so that teachers and children and parents are on the same page on the parameters and the kind of discipline that children can have in that school. When you function within that policy, you are safe and secure. School can defend you. But you see, you cannot bring the way you are disciplined in your Forogi Community High School to come and discipline another person's child. And you are punishing the child in the name of discipline. It will not work. And you have already abused the father, abused the mother. They are coming for you. They will come for you. It can be very trickish. A particular girl pulled a teenage boy with her into the girls' toilet in a particular school. And the teacher rushed in to get them out. The teacher nearly lost his job. He nearly lost his job because he did not have any business in the girls' toilet. He did not have it. You cannot be that the happy teacher. No. You need to get a lady who can enter the girls' toilet or a lady security officer who can pull them out. And the father of the girl was saying, he knows that the girl did wrong, but say, so this teacher has seen the nakedness of my daughter now. So I understand what that Mr. Yola is saying, but we cannot afford to play into the hands of parents. We need to be ethical, professional teachers who knows what to do and not going beyond the bounds of our calling and yet getting it done. It is a mark of excellence for any professional teacher. I hope I answered that.
Yes, sir. Thank you, sir. So I have Mr. Sanusi, whose hand is raised up. Mr. Sanusi, please unmute yourself and ask your question.
Yes.
Good evening, sir.
Good evening, sir.
Thank you for that wonderful session. You have really done very well, sir. May
Thank
the Lord continue to be with you.
Amen.
What I want to say is this: I think we have been taught that as educators,
Mm.
in our schools, in our classes, we should have
Yes.
this element or characteristics that as a teacher or leaders, we should be friends with our learners. We should make friends
Yes.
with our learners. We should be fair with them. And at the
Yes.
same time, we should be firm.
Firm.
We should be
Yes.
firm. So with
Yes.
this now, I think for like men, I like children. I love to always be in their midst. But I also
Yes.
realize that if you are too close to them in making, although they do come to me and spread themselves to me, telling me everything that is happening in their homes, because I'm the head of the school. But I now
Okay.
realize that when you are too still close to these learners, at times they will be
Yes.
coming to my office, even when I have a visitor. That I now realize that it's getting out of, and that how can someone limit this? Do I love them
Okay.
so much? They love me.
Okay.
They will say everything to me, but I still want to
Good.
create that boundary so as not to get out
Hello.
of.
Hello.
How do I do about that?
Yes.
That's number
Okay.
one.
So,
Number two, sir. When
all
maybe
right.
at home, I've seen this in so many homes that most of the wives we have at home now, they will have gone
Yeah.
to work for the whole day. When they get
Yeah.
home in the night, we still see them watching movie till 1 or 2 o'clock. And as a father, it's not good. Will you beat your child, your wife, or will you beat maybe your brother's wife or so? So how do you think we can curb this in our homes? Because we know the implication of this, that it can lead to so many diseases and some other things that can affect their life. So please, how can someone deal with this kind of things in our homes?
Okay, let me quickly attend to your questions. I hope I'm audible. Can you hear me? Can you hear me at all?
Yes, sir, we can hear you loud and clear.
Great. So I'll take the first one. So you have answered the question. Be friendly, be firm, but be fair. Those are the three things that govern my teaching in 30 years. I am friendly, I am firm, but I will be fair on all of you. Now, the thing is this, that you are friendly with children does not mean they should disrespect you or walk over you. You understand what I'm saying? Now, you need to teach them. You see, discipline is teaching. Discipline is teaching, is not beating. Okay, so children, I know you love to come to my office and all of that, but these are the times when you are permitted to come. So, because Mr. Suso, I'm also a busy person. Mr. Sanusi is busy as your head teacher. So you need to know when to come. So maybe your break time, and I can only entertain one person per time. So you are teaching them to be orderly. So you're not just running over you and crawling over you. No. But see, it's also good that they can come to you. But if they cannot come to you, they will keep a lot of things from you. And then you can use suggestions. You can use a box where they can drop a box where only you, and maybe the owner of school, have keys to it, where they can drop what they want to say, and it will help you. That's one. Now, about the home, where mothers are busy watching movies, let me tell you, I told you that our action speaks louder than our voice and our instructions. We need to model for the children what we want them to do. For example, when it is time to work, you let them know it is time to work. When it's time to play, you let them know it's time to play. You are not playing all through and they are watching you. If you play all through with your phone, they will play all through with their phone when they grow up. The issue is this, and let me tell you what the phone and this thing has done, because a woman gives birth to a child and says this child is giving me at 3 months, is already putting cartoons in front of the child. He said they should be watching cartoon while I'm busy washing. By the time that child is 2, he's behaving exactly like those monsters in the cartoons. He's behaving. That child is not an hyperactive. God did not give you a hyperactive child, but because that child has watched too many cartoons, that child starts giving you cartoon characters. Because that's what she considers real world, because he's been hooked to it from 3 months, 6 months old. And a lot of damage is being done to children. Okay, not only that, their attention span is affected because those videos don't keep scenes of anything for too long. They're always changing scenes. And the child is now looking, when the child comes to school and the teacher is not using teaching aids and is not using videos and is not changing, the child is lost. The child gets bored. So you need to have family talk with your wife. You need to have a situation where you can talk it through and let that woman or daddy know what damage, like we just told you now, if you let the woman know that this damage is being done to the child, that woman is likely going to think through. And it's not about fight, it's about also getting on the same page, because you cannot beat adults like you beat children, you know. And I wonder why adults think it's only children that should be beaten. That's just by design.
Thank you, sir.
I hope
Thank you, sir. I know you have just 3 minutes more, but let's take Yusuf Benga before you go, sir.
All right.
Good evening, sir.
Good evening.
Good evening, sir.
Good evening, sir.
Thanks so much for this seminar, sir. God bless you, sir.
Amen.
But, sir, hello?
Hello. I'm hearing you.
Hello? Can you hear me?
I can hear you. I can hear you.
Okay, sir. I want to ask if I am doing the right thing.
All right. Hello. Oh, I want to hear this. Oh, hello. Oh,
I think we lost him. So let's quickly move to Adenike Adebukola. We lost him between the. Adenike Adebukola, please, you have the floor.
Good evening, sir.
Good evening.
Yeah, thank you so very much for this eyes-opening discussion this evening. But sir, actually my question is this, and it's something I'm actually experiencing at the moment still.
Okay.
Oh no, normally we get frustrated as a teacher or probably school head or so when a particular child keeps coming to you, like a teacher keeps reporting a particular child to you on a particular what's it called, on a particular course, which is probably assignments.
Okay.
He was punished yesterday for not doing the assignment, day before yesterday, still today, same thing.
Yeah.
You've invited the parents to the school, let them know what's going on, why is it this way, and that way, and all that. It's just as if the child is not even having the direction from the home, as if there's no monitoring from the home.
Yeah.
So it's not, what is it to do? Is it to just leave the child, go, okay, this is how you want to have your life?
No.
I've tried.
No.
Because it's really frustrating, whereby, okay, a class of let's say 15, at least with all the methods you put in place, okay, they respect you, they fear you, that, oh, I must do Mr. Denike's work, if not, she will do, okay. You know, some children, the discipline is there for them, right from home, where they're coming from. At least for a class of 15, you're having like, let's say, okay, 12 thereabouts being obedient, like they are. You're okay. So what do we do to the remaining 3 or probably 4, whereby they are just the constant K issue?
Thank you very much. Let me respond to you. I know this is these are what we've seen this, and we know some of the reasons. Let me tell you one of the reasons. You know, and this is taking us into another dimension, which is called differentiated learning. See, what we give as homework to children, you first of all have to establish whether those 4 are the same level of understanding with the other 12. You see, because we teach children the same way, the same level, the same way. You think you give Shade is in your class and today they are the most brilliant. You are giving them the same assignment, the same classwork that you are giving to Tolu and Tinu, who are always coming last in class. And so these children, and you give homework that the children cannot do up to 70% of it by themselves. Especially these last 4. Whereas the first 12 can handle about 80% of the homework by themselves, even though some of them will still go to their parents and disturb their parents, because most homework that teachers are giving is for parents, not for children. If your children cannot attempt about 70-75% of the homework you are giving, it is not valid. It's not a valid homework. Not only that, because now parents will employ lesson teachers and say, make sure you do their homework for them. So lesson teachers have done homework for these children and you have marked as if they understood and they learned. That's another wahala. You know, because you see now the last 4 who are the strugglers in class, you cannot afford to give them the same homework. You must give them maybe 1 or 2 from what you have given others, and then locate where their own gap is and give them homework at their level. So that if you are giving others, okay, this other one that are this level of difficulty, you are giving these ones 2, 3 at their own level of capacity, and you are adding about 2 from where others are also doing. You see, this is how to do it, so that when they start scoring 2/5, 3/5, they are happy. Not that they are scoring 0, 0, 0, and they, they cannot attempt it. Sometimes they will even keep the homework thing away. That's one. Two is that if you now see this, you need to get the parents to be on the same page with you. You need to educate the parents on what you expect them to do at home with these children. But first of all, ensure that the standard or the challenge that you are giving to children is the time that is within what their capacity can handle. Because I see a lot of homeworks that teachers give to children, and I shake my head. Because those homeworks are not for children, they are for their parents and for the lesson teacher that will come. Because homework is just to extend learning a little bit beyond what was learned in class. And if you want to do it really well, you are not giving the same homework to everybody, just like you have not given the same classwork to everybody in class. I hope, because that will take another day. That's differentiated learning, and it's not the quiz. But I hope I have done something that can help. But involve parents, get them to be on the same page with you, and teach them because sometimes we think we are only teaching children. Parents need to be taught by the school. When they come for open day, is when you express to them what you expect from them also. Parents don't know as much as you do about teaching their children. That's why they send them to us. And we need to educate parents on our expectations for their child. Thank you.
Okay, Mr. Benjamin, sir, I know, sorry, can we just hear from Ayola? He has been the answers. Please, so I will not offend somebody virtually.
Let's hear you.
Hello.
Hello, sir.
Hello, good evening.
Good evening.
Hello, Mr. My name is Ayola.
Okay.
Please, can you hear me, sir?
I can hear you. I can hear you very well.
Please, I've sent a message twice now. So what's the case whereby a child has not completed his note, though I'm the vice principal of my school presently.
Okay.
Though if the child is not completed his note, and we have using every method to complete it, because a teacher was punishing a child in his class for not completing his note. Are you getting me? By driving in from taking his breakfast when other people are taking, just 10-minute interval. So we asked him to go back to go and take the food after 10 minutes. So to serve as punishment. So I asked him to copy, I think, a little from the note that is not copied. Are you getting me, sir? Hello, sir.
Yes.
Are you getting me?
I'm hearing you.
So
I am getting you.
The guy now took his food after 10 minutes when other people have eaten. So when he got home, he reported the case to his parents. So the next day, the parents just come and started using a busy word for the teachers, harassing the teacher. So when I now come out, I was like, and I intervened to the matter that, this is not how we're supposed to be harassing the teacher. Even though if you have any case, you should have reported this to me so that I will know what to do. So I later created a platform for the parents, all my parents, anybody that have any complaint, that they should send it to the platform on the WhatsApp so that I can address the issue. So short case now, if a child is not completed his note and the teacher have tried all the possible best, I believe that it do happen in primary and secondary school as well. So what and how are you going to iron such case?
Let me tell you the truth, and I don't want to burst your bubble, really. As much as possible, we should not give lengthy notes to children. They don't need it. If we know what to do with the teaching and the learning, so much will be incorporated in them that their notes, whichever short notes you want to give them, will be completed by the time you are completing your lesson. But that is a skill for those who have been exercised and trained in it. Now, for a child who is not punishing a child with food, please stop it. Please stop it. Look, there's something wrong that says you can bring that child, get him to eat your food, but you are spending your break time here. Eat your food quickly, but you are spending your break time now because you have this note to write. You cannot withhold food as a form of punishment at all. At all. Not at home, not in school. Don't withhold food. Now, the child coming to the staff room to write his notes. Fine. Okay, this is your food. Quickly take your food, and this is work to do. Or you tell to quickly eat your food. Now you write your note. It can be the privilege of playing with others can be withdrawn, but food must not be withdrawn from the child at the right time. You don't even know whether the child has ulcer. That's one. So please, as much as possible, ensure that the notes that the children are writing is not burdensome. And that is the truth. If people know what to do with teaching and learning, they will not give burdensome notes. But then that's what my Nigerian teacher wants to first of all. In fact, what you do now is write for some your notebook, your boards will be filled with notes for children to copy, and then you'll be teaching what the notes you have written. Well, that's the style a lot are using now. That's not the style we were trained to use, and that's not the style I want to teach anybody to use. But then, if you heard me well now, sir, I'm saying that don't ever withdraw food when others are eating. Bring that child to your staff room, yes, or to your office as their teacher. Eat your food. You have 5 minutes to eat it. Okay, you are here to write these notes. You can actually deprive that child of the next period if you are the head teacher, and say, well, you complete this one. I mean, if possible, if, for example, you have an agreement with the other teacher how to. But if you manage it well, if that child puts in about 15 minutes to write that note, and before he goes to class, you will complete it maybe in 2-3 days. It's about following through, but don't withdraw food. Let that child eat his food in your office and then deal with the situation. Thank you.
Wow. Sir, that was, I mean, actually, I think you should just get to hear from it's an awesome session. I'm grateful to you. The entire BAF team is grateful to you.
Thank God.
Time you have devoted in doing this. I know you have to catch another appointment now.
Laptop messed up. My laptop messed up. I have to revert to this.
Thank God. This is awesome. Like, I know if we have 3 hours, we will not exhaust it. Please, beneficiaries, can you just join me to just say thank you to Mr. Benjamin, please? I see up, but I have to let you go because I know you have another session after now.
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah. We are grateful, sir. So please, to our beneficiaries, as you can see on the slide, it's copyright. So BAF cannot share it with you.
Please, so.
Can we share this this recording on our YouTube? This recording, can we?
Well, you can share it. Yeah, you share it. Let people go and you can share it, and maybe you should also acknowledge or tag. I don't know. Just do what you have to do with it.
So we will ensure that everything is the work is your presentation, everything is yours also. And as you can also see from my screen, he has a page. He has a Facebook page. Please, these are the kind of people that you should keep in touch with. As school owners, that is the kind of people that you should consult for your school. Follow his YouTube channel, follow his Facebook page. You have a whole lot to learn. Like, as a father that I am, I have learned so much today. Thank you so much. We are grateful to you. We have to let
Thank you very much. Sir. Thank you for the opportunity. Yes, and it's been a pleasure.
Yes, sir.
Sorry for
wow. Awesome session. Honestly. Wow. Thank you, sir. Thank you. So, beneficiaries, can you just join me to say thank you to Mr. Benjamin? Can we all meet and say thank you to him, please?
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you. So if you have questions, you can send them to me. I'll forward them to him. And in his time, he will respond to them, and then we'll get back to you. On this note, I would love to just say, how will I put it? I would like to say to all of you that joined, even though the attendance is not really encouraging, I know we had a meeting last 2 weeks and we discussed about this. So if this continues, I'm afraid we has joined. Everybody has joined, and we hope you have learned a lot. And if you have feedbacks, please send them to me on WhatsApp. We'll be glad to post them on our Instagram handle and Facebook pages. So on this note, I just want to say thank you to everybody that joined. I believe you have learned a lot, and I hope to see the changes in your classrooms. Thank you. So as somebody is saying, somebody will definitely share on our YouTube page, and you can go back and watch later. On this note, I wish you all a very wonderful weekend. Enjoy the rest of the day. God bless you, and good night.
Bye. Thank you. Good night, sir.
Self-profit.